You made it, Johnny. Good boy.
I did. Furious morning. Fury.
You can see the doers in the room. They're all here early.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are
Hello,
you?
Emma. Hello, Emma.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, while I've got you and Nikki's not here, or Nikki's saying, Mr. Sanders Plumbing and Miss Emma Wong, don't forget to put a referral into the app, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. You can do that thing.
Oh,
Rebecca Dodson's in the house.
Hello, good
Oh,
afternoon.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I think we've got about 6 people. So still waiting on Dylan. Just Dylan. Just Dylan. That's good. It's good number to start. I love it. It's awesome. There's Dylan. Now, of course, being the video guy, this is my request is cameras on. Oh, good. There it is. Dylan, you're still in the same position where you were last time I saw you in our little group. Oh, I don't want to look down there. Anyway, well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first session on how to sell more by being yourself. So today I just want to walk through a little bit of few little rule. I don't want to use the word rules, but I kind of want to walk through the community and just so how I think you're all in the community, which is great, just to of what you need to do within that community. And then we're going to dive into some structures, some story structures, and then we're going to dive into our first story structure, which will be the client success story, and around what are the expectations for you of where you're going to be posting or telling these stories. And before we kick off, we want to also let you know that I'd like to book a 45-minute session with you one-on-one just to map out the places where you'll be able to tell your stories, and I'll just let you know, I will email you and set that up after the call today. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the community if you haven't already been and had a look around within the group. I'm just going to share my screen now. Has anyone been and had a look into the little community?
Briefly.
Briefly, yeah. So there's not much to see at the moment because, but the main thing is in the community space. So when you write a story, my request is that you just put your story in here so you can get feedback on your story for the group or from the group. So it's, this is a community. We want you to connect with people, right? We want you to, this is a little bit of networking. My request is there's no kind of promotion within the community space. It's kind of relative to stories, but by all means, we will be putting requesting some social links from everybody, and you better put those up into the group. I'll do those probably during the later in the week. We want you to network. We want you to meet some people, and really it's about sharing some wins or sharing if you've got an ask. There's some information in here. There's the weekly community call, which is logged in, and I've blocked out an hour and a half, just so you know. I know Nikki needs to leave at 2 o'clock today, so generally speaking, if there's going to be more people in, we'll take a little bit longer to go through each story. So there's some information on navigating. You can click on that, and if you have any asks or shares or wins, we want to share those in the community group. But yes, I'm very excited. We are recording this call, and you can go back, and if I speak quite slowly. I can talk a little bit faster, but if you want to go back and revisit some parts of the lesson, you better do that after the call today. But let's dive into stop share. No, I'm going to go into stop share and share again. It's very exciting, isn't it? Isn't it exciting?
It's exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm pumped to my heart is racing. Wow, my heart is racing. Let's not muck around. Let's get into some story structures to give you those frameworks, first of all, around writing short stories. You're going to see this come up in our first story structure. And it's really important to, and that you'll be able to, this will be there as a download or a template. You'll be able to download this and use this, stick it on the wall, etc. But in this short story structure that we're framing the client success story, we're using a structure called ABS. And A stands for and, B stands for but, and S stands for so. And I say, so long as these words are within your story, you'll be able, the story should work. Okay. Now, if there are other ways to remember, ABS is ABS braking, or, yes, I've got abs. No, I don't, but, abs or ABs, if there's a way to remember it. If you can use and, but, and so in your story, I'm going to go through that in just a moment of where they would appear. And obviously, the and is often referring to something that you're looking forward to helping with the client, right? It's like, and I'm looking forward to, having this client have a great massage in the case of Rebecca. The but is the conflict. There's a conflict in every single story. We think about all those famous stories, Lord of the Rings, any Hollywood movie is going to use a structure. I might put up some things around the Pixar's 26 rules around storytelling, and they come up in every single movie. But this is a very simple story structure of ABS. Typically, if you're familiar with any Hollywood movie, they're going to use the hero's journey, and it is about you can tell a story of each part of that journey. Think about any. Like the Lord of the Rings, and there's the setting, and the hobbits are all living there and having a wonderful time, and then something happens, and then something happens, and then something happens. So for the client success story, which is a short story, it can be told in 25 seconds. So anybody that's going to networking, you'll be able to use a story that you write today at your next BNI speaking event. And the so is typically the call to action. It's kind of it's almost like the piece at the end of the story. It's like, so if you want, so, the moral of the story is, it's kind of that finishing piece. For our longer stories, I use the 4 C's. And this is, again, it's, we want to set up the story with the characters. We want to build out a little bit of information about the characters in your story. And there's, as I said, there's the conflict again. Every story is going to have a conflict in the mindset of the person that you've solved the problem for. Then we get into the crossing, and you can flesh this out a little bit more. It's kind of, there's a journey that you went through for a longer story, and then there's a conclusion. Characters, conflict, crossing, conclusion. Good ways to remember the 4 C's of telling a longer story. Now, this is the next thing I want to talk about. Is often people say, I'm not very good at telling stories because, and the because is that you don't know what stories to tell. So from this day on, I declare my Scout's honor. My request is that you write down the things that happen in your business, things that happen in your world. And they could be anything from talking to clients, talking to prospects, team members. It could be family, out and about. We want you to be able to capture a story bank of things that happen, so then you can tell stories around them. And you get better at, it's like I think somebody reached out to me and said, oh, John, I've just watched your donut face story. Right now, in the moment, I was like, oh, there's a story here, right? Because it was really expensive for that donut and sandwich. And then I took a photo of me with a crummy face. Okay, that's the one that no one really liked, but it got me lots of conversations, lots and lots and lots of conversations. So, you know, there was a story in everything that we do, whether we're buying a coffee, we're sitting down with clients and they tell us something. And my little brain goes, oh, there's a story there. There's an outcome from that particular experience with a client. So I want you to, whether you're a mobile phone person or you're a diary or write things down, in the back of your diary, literally just document the things that happen and, you know, what happened, where was it, who was it with, and maybe an outcome. Because that can probably be told as a story as it relates to your business. So phone, put a little OneNote thing or something on a computer. You want to be sharing some of the stories that are some of the things which are happening in your world, and we can then build a story around them. Okay. So that's information on Story Banks. That will be there as available for a download should you want it. But now we're going to jump into our first story structure, which is the client success story. Now, just to give you a little bit of premise, I've been using this story structure for the last 5 years. When I first ever did video training, and people come to me and they say, John, what are we going to talk about? And I always say to them, well, you're going to tell some stories because they are universally understood by everybody in the world. All right, let's just look at Hollywood movies. Stories are captivating. And when you tell the story right, people will understand it. So this is a client success story, and it's actually the one that, funnily enough, gets you leads. I'll say that again. It's the story structure that gets you leads or gets conversation started, because people go, I've got that problem and you solve that problem. I want what that person got. So let's dive into that story structure. I can go in here. So this is the client success story. And it has a certain structure. You'll see the ABS being used. Can everyone see that all right? Just, well, that's fine. Just put your glasses on. Yeah, good. So client success story using ABS. And it goes something like this. I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. And you could say customers or students, whoever the people that you serve in your world. Now, that is a perfectly good hook. When I say hook, you'll hear me start talking about hooks, and as a way to hook someone into either reading or listening to the story. The story, the word, is a hook. So you'll see me stand up at BNI and go, short story about one of my clients. It works. Use it. Steal the line. The next line is, we want to describe a few things about the client. Now, the client is the secret to the story is brevity. It's not about putting lots and lots of information into the story just so it makes you sound like you're doing good things. Just frame them. So Rebecca is seeing you're our very first person in. You were a massage therapist and acupuncturist based out in West Auckland. So, this client is based in Swanson, is in their 40s, and they live in a 4-bedroom home, or whatever it is, right? Dylan, number 2, framing stories about clients that you've solved problems for. Dylan especially so, you can describe that. It could be about the type of person that you solve the problem for. It might be someone who had difficulty getting finance or whatever, or it could be the size of the home, or it had to be sold quickly. All of those are stories about particular problems that you solved. So we're just saying 3 things about the client, just so the person listening to the story can place them. So if I said, this client is a plumber, he's in his early 50s, and he's based out in Glen Innes. That's all we need to place that particular client. Then we get our first and, right? The ABS. And stands for, A stands for and. And describe how you were feeling. Stories are very feely, right? How are you feeling before you work with them? You know, and I was excited to help him with some accounting stuff. You know, that's all we need to say. And then we get the conflict. It is the but. But the problem was, the one problem they had was, what most people do in this little line is they put multiple problems into this line. We just want one problem. You might have solved that problem. You might have solved other problems, but that's another story. Okay? So you can say, but he didn't know how to tell stories. But he had a crook neck. But he needed to sell the house within 6 days. But he had to flush the toilet more than 4 times. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to use that one, right? So you can see there's just one problem. And shortly you're going to be writing some stories. You're going to be putting in some problems that you solve. And this is where the magic appears. Most people, when they tell a story, especially in the SME space, is because we love what we do, we often talk about what we did, right? But at the end of the day, this is a client success story. It's not about what we did. It's just what they got. I know, it's big pregnant pause. It's really important. It's, you know, we work together, and now, which is what was the result that they got after working with you? Now, if you can quantify that, I'm talking to Emma Wong here particularly, you know, we worked together and we saved them $90,000 on their tax, right? It's not about what you did for them. We can get into that later on with some other story structures around education to demonstrate your expertise. But it is about just talking about the result that they got. Then we have the so. So if you want to save $90,000 on your next tax bill, let's talk. Now, this little line does wonderful things to people. People go, well, I want to save $90,000 on my tax bill. I'm going to reach out to Emma. And it's almost the talk to me or the call me or let's chat is a throwaway. It's like, you know, well, we just solve these problems all the time. So we work together, and now he only has to flush once, and he saved probably a lot of money on water bills. So if you want to save money on your water bill and only flush once, let's talk, right? Now, the challenge here, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to be building out a little story structure in a moment. And I want you to obviously use this time between now and 2 o'clock to share some stories. There is an example of me and telling a story that I did a video testimonial for a guy on LinkedIn yesterday, and you can see the structure, and it's all about brevity. I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. This client's based in East Auckland, late 50s, works in healthcare, and I was excited to see him build his online authority. But he struggled with what to say in his videos. We worked together, and now he's pushing out videos on LinkedIn, telling short stories with ease. So if you want to tell short stories with ease, let's talk. And short stories in your videos, let's talk. Okay? So that is the story. I'm going to leave that there for a moment, but I want you to get out a pad and pen. I didn't say that you needed to bring a pad and pen, but hopefully you've got a pad and pen. I know Emma does because she's an accountant. She writes down everything. And what I want you to do is this is a little exercise, and it is, I want you to write down all of the problems that you solve for your clients. Now, this can be anything from peace of mind. It can be anything from making more money. So it's just, we want to write down all of the problems that you solve for your clients. We should, anyway, we really want to have a list of 10, at least a list of 10 problems that you solve for your clients. Go. And if you have any questions, just ask. Oh, Halan's joined us. Well done, Halan. There you are. Popped in at the end. Drinking tea, drinking coffee. What do you know? Write down all of the problems that you solve for your customers, clients, students, charges. And, you know, I think it's probably like for you, Nikki, it's probably best to choose the AI, because that's the one that you're talking about, right? Yeah, it's probably it's probably valuable to use that business rather than your, I mean, you could talk about music, you could talk about coaching, right? There's lots of things that you solve, but it's choosing a vertical around something that you solve for people. This is where I play, you know, the music, or I could sing for you, but I won't. Has anyone got a list of 10 problems that you solve for clients? Anyone want to share?
Yep.
Who was that?
Me, Johnny.
Jono. All right.
Waterleaks.
So Johnny Sanders is a plumber. And what are the, and again, what we want to try and do here is we want to try and have a short phrases. We don't want to go into too much, just where people go, cool. Where you go, Johnny?
Water leaks. Waste pipe blockages. Toilet blockages. What product is best? Funny smells. Pipe rattles. Vermin damages. How to renovate a bathroom. Roof leaks. Noisy pipes.
Excellent. And what about some of the mindset things that you solve for people that you mentioned to me yesterday, Johnny?
Well, the how and the why? Is it
Well, it's also the, you know, peace of mind. I think, you know, peace of mind, those kind of things, you know, I save you time, right? It's probably time and peace of mind, all those kind of things that you do solve for people.
My knowledge is your
yeah,
power.
absolutely.
My knowledge is your power.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I can put the decision making back in their court really quickly and easily, and empower them to make a decision that you know is good for them, fit for them, fit
Cool.
for purpose.
Cool. All right, you've got your list.
Yep.
Now, my question to you then, Johnny, is: have you solved those problems for clients? As in, have you actually, like water leaks? You've solved that for plenty of clients, right? Looking at that list, have you solved that for clients?
Yes.
Yes, of course you have. Cool. So now it's about, okay, if you've just defined the problems. Okay, you've just defined the problems that you solve. Now we can go back a step and start thinking about clients that you've solved that for. Now, people can be a little bit very protective of their clients. This is where you can change the names and things about the client to protect them, right? People get, oh, I don't really want to talk about that client because he'll know that I'm talking about that client. So you can, I would say, my favorite line is, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. So you can change the characters' details about them. So if there was a 50-year-old man, suddenly it's a 40-year-old woman, right? If they lived in Henderson and now they live in Mount Roskill. So start, it's almost like you got your 10 things, start writing down 3 things about the clients that you have solved that for. And this is where you can get a little bit strategic. You know, I know Helan's very strategic. Is if you want to talk to a particular subgroup of people, is you can talk about characters that you want to attract more of. I'll say that again. You can frame the characters around the problems for the ones that you want to get more of. So in Dylan's case, as a real estate agent, you would say, you know, if you want more houses in Remuera, or you want more 6-bedroom homes, then you can use that as part of the characterization in your story. Are you with me, Dylan?
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
Cool. Awesome. So you've got your, has everyone got a list of 10 things you solve? I assume that's a yes from everybody.
Yep.
Now start thinking about the clients that you've solved that for. So for you, and again, it's, you know, I ideally like the stories to be truthful, authentic, aligned with your values. So ideally you've actually solved this problem before. Like Helan, I know you've made a few sales as a business broker, right? But what you can actually do is, if you might have sold or a business similar, but at a previous job, or, you know, so you can really, it's about the problem that you solve. We're just building out some characterization around who they are, where they are, what their problem, who they are, where they are, some characterization about that particular person. Are you with me, Dylan? Are you just looking at me because I'm pretty?
No. Sorry, I had a important email come in that I need to.
Oh, yes, the problem email. Yes. That's all right. If you need to work, ladies and gentlemen, you can. This is pre-recorded. You can put yourself on mute and come back. So once you've got the problems and you've got the clients, then you can start piecing your story together. So you've already got your first line. So it was Rebecca. I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. This client is based in Swanson, early 40s. Works in manufacturing, just to kind of place them. And I was so looking forward to solving her problem, or I was so looking forward to giving her an amazing experience. And I was feeling pumped. So you notice that the language that I'm using is generally aligned to my values. We will do an exercise on values as part of your homework. Oh, there's going to be homework? Yeah, sorry. Jeez. Now, if you're thinking about, you know, for you, Emma, if you're thinking about problems that you're solving, think about the problems that you want to solve more of. And if you can make it the biggest problem. So sometimes when people share a story, it might be, I'm trying to give you an example. a swimming pool truck just walked past, so drove past. So I could tell a story about a swimming pool truck. It's I'll use Johnny, right? It's the toilet wasn't flushing, or no, I'll use a hot water cylinder one, right? But but the hot water cylinder wasn't working. But the real bigger problem of that was that the family of 5 that were in that house were going stir crazy because they didn't have any hot water. It's a bigger problem than the problem of the hot water cylinder. So how do you frame the true bigger feeling from heart? I am pointing to my heart feeling here. What's the bigger problem inside of the problem that you solved? And how do we frame that? But the kids were going stir crazy because they had no hot water. Or even, in the world of money, right? But that they were paying too much in tax is a problem. But the bigger problem is they couldn't scrape enough food to put it on their table for their 4 kids. Is a bigger problem that you're solving for people. Oh, good, that got you thinking. Think about what really hurts people. Having to have no money to do the thing they need to do, to protect and love for their family, to put food on the table. That's a bigger problem that you're kind of solving through the problem that you're solving for people. That makes sense. So who wants to have a go with telling a story using a problem that you solved and some characterization by looking at the screen and using the words on that page? To cheat. It's just a cheat, right? Who wants to have a go?
I can try.
Cool. All right, Dylan.
I want to tell you a story about a client that was looking to downsize, and they didn't know where the best place to spend their limited budget on making their home attractive. I worked with them in key areas on their kitchen carpet and decluttering, and we managed to get a premium result. So if you want a premium result, then let's talk.
Not bad for a first effort, Dylan. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. So I want you to use the script in front of you. So this client, you kind of ran it together. I want you to talk about one of my clients who was looking to downsize. What was your next line?
Who was looking to downsize and where to spend their money to improve their home on a limited budget.
Okay, cool. So there's 3 problems there.
Yeah. So the issue, how do I make it one?
One. Cool. So what's the biggest problem?
The biggest problem, I suppose they needed to declutter their property.
Okay, cool. So I want you to set up the story by describing the client. So where was the house located? How big
Yes.
was the house, right? So this client lived in Glendowie. That was a 4-bedroom home.
Yeah. Okay.
And they had a family. It was a family of 4 in a 6-bedroom home, whatever, just paint the picture around where that home was. Really paint that picture.
Yeah.
And then, we want to put that, and, I was, looking forward to moving them forward or moving them on, or whatever some of those real estate phrases can be. And then put in the but their house was a friggin' mess. There was stuff everywhere. We worked together, and now they have a clean, open plan, amazing plan where you can swing a cat, and and their house, there could be a story about problems that you solve in the journey of selling a home, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't always need to be the outcome of, you know, I've told the story for a couple of other real estate agents before of, you know, it was a house in, I think it was Henderson Heights, 5 bedrooms. But their problem was the CV rating was only 200,000 and they wanted more. They worked with me. We sold the home for a 900% increase on the CV. So if you can hear that's the so, or the call to action is congruent with the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
That would be a lovely problem to have. The government's
Yes, right.
the government's made that quite difficult with new CVs.
Yeah, and look, there's some grey areas, stuff that you don't know. You know, these real estate agents I was working with before, they were like, we don't really want to mention the number, and we don't want to mention that's like, this is one story in one moment of time that in a social media post, it's gone in one scroll, but it's there for everyone to see. Wow, you got that result. We just want them to go, wow. So use the story of decluttering, but use the scripted framework here. I don't mind if you deviate from the script, ladies and gentlemen, until I'm hearing characters, problems, outcome, call to action. I use the structure to every BNI I go to. It works. So I'm going to tell you a story about one of my clients. Rebecca, do you want to have a go? You're looking at me like you're desperate. Desperate to share a story.
Yes, that's right. I am. Okay. I want to tell you about Betty. She's 76 and had a fall, injuring both her arms, her hands, and her shoulders. This client could barely walk up the 15 steps to my clinic on her first visit. She was weak. But her main problem was losing her independence. We worked together using ACC, acupuncture, and cupping, and she walks confidently up the stairs now. She can shrug her shoulders. She's taking back her life and becoming more independent. She's more confident. So if you're older and you want to grab your independence back, let's talk.
I'm loving the calls to action. You're absolutely nailing them.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
I could see Betty, but there were lots of problems. How do we pull that back into one problem? I mean, it was like independence, right? That was the problem.
Yeah.
But I want you to describe positive things about Betty. Not that she had a fall.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of go. So I want to tell a story about one of my clients. Betty, I don't know, Betty lived in X. She loved to go shopping and going to bowls. And, she walked every day, but she had a fall and she lost her independence. We worked together and there was a little bit around what you did for them. Don't need it. It's not about ACC. Do you want to, ignore that, take it all out? Yep. We worked together and now she's walking freely. She's doing hikes around Mount Eden. And she's got her independence back. So if you want your independence back, let's talk. It's really just describing one small problem, not going into too much detail around the problems that she had. It's really, we want the audience or the person we're telling the story to is that they can see Betty. Cool. She had a fall and lost her independence and couldn't go out and couldn't do anything, which is another way of saying she lost her independence. We worked together and now she's 25 and she's running around everywhere. Right? So if you want to run around everywhere and just have your full independence by having, you can see that I'm adding more into the line to think that I need to say more. Less is more.
Okay.
Less is more. But it's good. Good start. I love it. This happens a lot. People wanting to put more information into it. we just want to try. We can always add more later on, but for the moment, just describe 3 things about the client and 3 things so we can place them where, but typically where, I always say, especially if like business owners, this was a manufacturing business based in Penrose with 40 staff. Just things about them, not about the problems that they had. That's the but.
Okay.
Excellent. Nikki, do you want to have a go?
Sure, I can have a go. There's lots of scribbles, so I might be turning my page a bit. but-
Scribbles are good. Scribbles are good.
I want to tell you about one of my business partners. This woman had run away from a domestic violence situation, fled to Melbourne where she was cleaning toilets in order to put nappies on her autistic baby. We worked together and now she empowers thousands of women entrepreneurs across the world to 6-figure incomes. If you want to inspire and transform lives and incomes starting with your own, let's chat.
Mm.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, but so again, your ending was great. Your call to action was a little bit too wordy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, so if you want to inspire millions, but really, which is the main one? Is it inspiring people or making money?
Making money probably.
Yep. So if you want to make more money, like this lady, let's talk.
Yeah.
It's just stripping out and I could hear, you were doing the strategic
Yes.
thing of, I want to tell you about my business partners, clients, customers. I get that they're strategic business partners, but to somebody that you're trying to attract as a prospect, just use everyday vernacular.
Right.
I want to tell you a story about one of my customers, one of my clients. Now, you did a really good job of setting the character up, as in the problems that she had.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to describe 3 positive things about this lady, because it's like she was based in Auckland. She had an autistic child, which is a lovely hook. She was based in, or you could say she was based in Melbourne. She had an autistic child and she was cleaning toilets for a living. And I really wanted to help her get past that.
Mm.
But so, yeah, what is the problem? Is the problem is, she didn't like her life. But she wanted more. She wanted more toilets cleaned, but she wanted to change.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you.
Welcome. So what are you hearing for yourself in listening to the people who have shared some stories already? People who haven't shared, what are you hearing? I think there's only one person. Halan, are you still with us, Halan? You've got to press the button to take you off mute. Yeah, well done. Oh, you're on a mobile phone. Yeah, that's okay. While you're trying to find the mute button, Emma, you know where the mute button is. What are you hearing for yourself?
Trying to find one thing and link
Yep.
to the result.
Good.
Today I'm trying to write my client success story.
Yep.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have to be the right client success story. It can be just a client success story.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be the perfect story. So can you tell us what is one of the problems that you solve for your clients?
Cash flow.
Excellent. Cool. And describe a client for me. Just describe 3 things about a client. So
This client is kind of new immigrant to New Zealand.
Yep.
In his late 30s, have
late.
2 kids.
Nice. Perfect. So this client is a immigrant, new to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Got 2 kids, and what was the other one?
And yeah, there's a new immigrant to New Zealand in his late 30s, and
It
he
is-
has 2 kids.
Nice, excellent, good cut. And what were you looking
That.
forward to before you? What were you looking forward to solving for him?
So he come to me, want to know how to use Xero software to just do basic accounting
Cool,
keeping.
cool. And
for
I
how
was
to
so
start business.
so we're at this. We're only in the second paragraph, right? So this client is a new immigrant to New Zealand, in his 30s with a couple of kids, and I could see he needed a hand.
With starting a new business.
Well, yeah, it's like,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like, and he was looking to, and I was looking forward to helping him with his new business,
Okay.
right? And I was looking forward to helping with his new business. Then what was the problem? But his cash flow was crap,
Yeah.
right? Obviously,
Yes.
my words, but I think I know you reasonably well. You're anyway, but his cash flow was crap.
Yeah.
So we worked together, and what's the result? Where is he now?
He got his he bought his first home in West Auckland.
Wow.
That's on his girls, and doesn't need to worry about cash flow. He go back home to visit family, send the money home. He can be
Wow.
away on holiday. Doesn't need to worry about holiday
Okay.
pay or wages.
Okay, so there's lots of really great outcomes, aren't there? So you could say we work together, and now his business, because you were talking about business
Yeah.
and cash flow.
Yes.
So the outcome needs to be congruent with the problem and what you were hoping to help him with.
Yeah.
So we work together, and now he just bought his first home that the business provided and took a holiday back to his homeland. So if you want a holiday and to buy your new house from your new business, let's talk.
Okay.
Okay. Kalan has found the unmute button on, and you've moved from have you moved to a desktop now? It's a little bit easier.
No, I'm still on mobile.
Still on mobile. All right, hit me. What you got?
I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. John was a successful cafe owner and a first-time seller. He was feeling very nervous about the selling process. He was unsure where to even start. We worked together throughout the sale process, and now John is free to spend time with his family. So if you want someone to work with throughout the sale and purchase process, then let's talk.
Okay. That was good. That was good. I really want you to look at the words on the screen in front of you where it says the words and but and so. They need to be in your story. So Halan, you did very well of describing the problems, but I didn't get the characterization around the person. So I got maybe 1 or 2 things. He was successful. That was 1. He owned a cafe. That's number 2. Where was the cafe? Just out of interest. That might be the 3rd thing about them, not the problems.
Okay.
Right? There was probably 2 problems there. It was he was nervous about selling. Right, that's one problem. He was nervous about selling. He didn't know what to do. He'd never done this before. What was it? What were some of the other problems you wrote down?
He was unsure where to even start, I guess.
Cool. Yeah. So he's unsure where to start. He was nervous. Choose one. Which was the biggest problem that he had?
Unsure of the sales process.
Cool. Unsure of the sales process.
Yeah.
How do people in business use the word process as it relates to selling their business? Or is that a word that brokers use?
Probably brokers use.
Yeah, cool. So just talk in their language. So But he was in, but he wanted to sell and he didn't know how to take it to market.
Ah, that's
Or
better.
even
Yep.
even take it to market is a very real estate agent term, isn't it, Dylan? Yeah. We want to use language that everybody understands, ladies and gentlemen. Take it to market, you know, listed. I listed a property. It's like, yeah, it's like I know listing is a word that you both use. How do we use language that speaks to a homeowner or that speaks to a business owner? It's changing, flipping that language. Cool. So he was nervous about selling his business, but he was nervous about selling his business. Or sorry, he didn't know how to sell his business. We worked together, and now, so did you sell the business?
Yes.
Cool. So the outcome has to be congruent with the problem around nervousness, or no, about understanding he didn't know how to sell. So what is the actual solution to that? What's the outcome to he didn't know how to sell his business?
By because
No, you can answer it.
By working with a broker, therefore they're the intermediary between the buyer and purchaser.
Yep.
And
so you might want to change your problem to but he was nervous about selling, which was for any number of reasons, right? He was nervous about selling. We worked together, we sold the business. He's now not nervous, he's very happy because he's got $400,000 in the bank. So if you want $400,000 for your business, let's talk. So your call to action was a little bit swing back to you.
Okay.
You're already telling the story about the client. It's not so much about you. So I think you said, so if you want someone to work with you, right?
Okay.
That is just make it about them. Make it all about them. So, there it is. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to share your stories into the community page on the thing to get feedback. And then your homework is to write some more, to write at least 2 more client success stories after you've gotten some feedback. And share them in the group. And then in our next session, what we'll do is we will come together and we will share some stories and refine them even more. The idea here is that we want you to have 5 client success stories written and ready to go. Now, obviously, I find that I can write them in 30 seconds. But obviously, sorry about that. Literally copy this template. You've already got your first line. And if it's more words on the page than the 5 paragraphs, then look at maybe shortening them a little bit. Does anyone have any questions? Well, you are all, I'm loving this is an adulting program. You're all adults.
All good.
If I get a bit stuck, I mean, the layout is simple, but actually sometimes narrowing it down to one option. So we can put it on the school and get feedback from
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. And look, I'm going to be there too. Obviously, I'm very eager to help. So I'll be commenting in that space as well.
Yes. Okay.
And then yep.
I'm just going to duck out for 2 minutes. I'll be straight back. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Just put yourself on mute just in case there's dogs barking. Here we go. Good boy. Dogs barking. I know. Halan, have you got your doggy there? You can show us your lovely dog.
He just wandered off.
He's wandered off. It's a very very, very cuddly looking dog. I digress, but you could tell a story about your dog, right? I know. Here we go. But that's next week. So client success stories. Pop your story that you've written today into the community, share, ask space. And then we'll all, and it's, you get rewarded. I don't know how the leaderboards work yet, but there are leaderboards within this program that you get rewarded for commenting, and then I reward you with goodness
And chocolate, I hope.
and chocolate. Yeah. And in the meantime, between now and next week, I'd like to find out when you might be available for a 45-minute chat, just to be crystal clear on your channels of where you'll be sharing your stories and telling your stories. So I will send just one group link out. This still applies to you, Halan. And then you can it'll just be on Zoom. It'll be a calendar link, and you can just choose a time that works for you for next week, I even work Saturdays. I am such a dedicated person for you. Yeah.
John, I'm probably going to be paying a marketing person just to set me up with maybe Facebook, not LinkedIn, I do that myself, Instagram and something else. So if you had to pick 3 platforms, what would those platforms be?
Well, the first question from a marketer standpoint is I was saying, where are your audience?
Yes. Yeah, probably in the Facebook and Instagram demographic, I would say. Yeah.
Correct.
And LinkedIn, probably to a lesser
Well,
extent,
LinkedIn's you, right? I mean, I know the real estate agent in our chapter, Halan obviously knows him well, is for when I met him and we did a podcast together, he was really only on Facebook and I think Instagram. And he's got, 14,000 connections on LinkedIn, because he's just sharing content. Well, his person in the background sharing the content, right? So there's still homeowners on LinkedIn, but there's just more of a business focus, or the business of selling. So
yeah, sure.
100% LinkedIn is still the place to be. Anyone have any other questions? Nikki, before you have to dash off at 2:00?
When we're writing the stories, did you say, or did I imagine it, that you should be able to say it in about 25 seconds?
Yeah. So this is the thing is, if you look at, I've highlighted on the screen a story structure, right? We can always flesh them out, right? That's a completed story. And for me to tell that's around about 30 seconds. So if you, put your stopwatch on next to you, and then say aloud the story, and then, start. If it's a minute,
Yeah, it's
we
a good
can
idea to do it
pull
out
some
loud.
stuff out.
Yeah. You'll hear if you're waffling. I'll hear if I'm
Yeah. Well, it's just I'm also going to send a little exercise around. Well, I'll tell you about that when we do the Zoomy call, and it's just a values exercise. Just so often when we write, we want to write to our values. We want to write to our personality that we are being. For the audience that already knows, likes, and trusts us. So we'll do that little exercise.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, I've got a dash. I will be back to normal next week.
Cool. Excellent. Thanks, Nikki.
Everyone, thank you.
Talk soon. Emma, are you okay? You're nodding. Cool.
Yeah, I was
Nice.
fine.
Cool. All right. Does anyone have any other? Oh, Sanders is back. Oh, Sanders is back.
Sanders is back.
Cool. So the homework, and I will send just the email with the is to post in the community group your story that you've just written today, get some feedback on it, and I'll provide some feedback as well. And then we'll do the Zoom calls, and then go and write 2 more, at least 2 more. If you want to write more, and it's just use the same structure, use the same, short story about one of my clients, or short story, you'll love this story about one of my customers. And this client, and I was looking forward to, have him be well. Think about the general things that you solve. I'm just thinking of you, Rebecca. It's like, I wanted to see a smile on her face. I wanted to, all the things that you do, all those outcomes, those feely things that you deliver for clients. But problem. We work together. Where is he now? If you can quantify it, even better. And that's, I'm specifically talking to Helen, Dylan, and well, no, everybody. Everybody can, you know, saving money, making money is really important for people, right? And if we can put a nice big fat dollar symbol and a number, and we sold his property for 50% over the CV, but $400,000 more than he thought he was going to get, is more impactful than 40% over the CV. But if you want to be, you know, I'm not quite sure if I want to say that. Again, ideally, it's a true outcome. You don't want to attract people who think that you're going to deliver more than you actually are. Specifically talking to Dylan there. Cool. We're going to finish at 2:00. Yay! Thank you so much, everybody. I'm really just want to acknowledge you all. Thank you very much for coming on the journey. And I'm looking forward to seeing your stories be told and shared and posted to get some results.
Very good.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
nice to meet you all too.
Don't
Thanks,
forget
John.
don't forget to do some networking.
Yep.
See you next week.
Thanks.
See you next
Thank
week.
you, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
team. Bye now. It's always that, if you always notice it's that awkward silence between the moment when you say goodbye to finding that fucking button where you've got to press X. You're just kind of looking at each other. I'm like, I'm not really, we already said
Yeah.
goodbye. And it's,
I know what I'm doing.
there's that might be a good story, actually. All right. I'll leave.
All right.
See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Going to stop record.